All right, you guys that are watching live, you can put it on speaker view. That way, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but at one point you're going to want to put it on speaker view. So just so you can see the person who's speaking, just heads up on that with Zoom. All right, you guys, hey, welcome to our How to Grow Your Influence social media training tonight. This is something that I'm just really excited about. It was one of those shower moments. Like right now in my life, the only time that I really get any alone time is if I wake up super early or if I take a shower sometimes. I mean, sometimes there's still people like barging in on me when I'm taking a shower, but I was like, you know what? This would be awesome if we would just do a big social media workshop to help everybody feel super confident and just have a game plan for social media in a way that we can really improve what we're doing. Because right now it's just so imperative that we're showing up on social media, but not just as a banner for Beachbody and Beachbody products, but as a brand and representing our own brand and telling our stories and engaging our audience. And we're all in all these different training groups or reading different books, and we're all learning so much. And so I thought it would be awesome tonight to bring our leaders together on our team to share some of their best practices and what they're learning from their trainings and from their personal growth and business growth books, and to be able to bring it to you all in one place. But what's really cool is tonight's not just a training, but it's a workshop. And so that means that we are actually going to walk away with work done. Okay, because I think sometimes we listen, we read, we hear, you know, what we're supposed to be doing, but that's it, and that's the end of it. We don't really have a lot of time for implementation, or what some of us like to call is blue sky time. Blue sky time is that time where you just have time to think and to write and to brainstorm. And we are going to give you that time tonight as we work through some of this training. Tonight's going to be interactive. So we want you to get comfortable with the chat box. You know, I want you to fill up your notebook, not just with knowledge from what you're learning from us, but your plans and your ideas and anything that comes to mind tonight. I hope, we all hope, that you walk away from this training tonight and you feel so confident and you feel like you have some really great best practices and tips that you can immediately implement into your social media. Now, when I started in this business, so my name's Erin Young. I haven't really introduced myself yet. I'm sorry. I figured you could read my name on the chat bar box, whatever. But my name's Erin. And so I've been in this business for 8 years. And I know when I started in this business, a lot of who I was helping were the people who were in front of me, the people who I was working with, the people who I went to college with or went to high school with, people who were, you know, in my phone as contacts or whatnot. But the way that my business has continued to grow 8 years and to thrive 8 years later is to build my business bit beyond my inner circle into my outer circle and into the cold market that I've warmed up through social media. And so literally 99%, I would say it's a random number, but I'm just going to say it confidently, 99% of the business that we do is a result of social media and our social media presence. And so that's really cool because here we have this phone that we can run a business on, that we can show up and make an impact on, that we can influence others with. And we have so many free tools with social media, right? It's, I mean, mostly free unless we're paying for ads. And we're not even going to talk about that because none of us are doing that to build our businesses right now, to be quite honest, because we don't feel like we need to. And, but what we can do is we know that we can show up here on social media. And what we can do is we can refine the way that we're doing it. And we can tweak what we're doing so that we can do it a little bit better and a little bit more effectively, and to create more engagement and to make a bigger impact. Because the impact that we make, the number of lives that we change, is a direct result of our income. And so if we can get out there and share our stories a little bit more confidently and engage our audience a little bit more confidently and know how to show up to reach and attract and to make that audience in front of us curious about what we're doing, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know that sometimes that our own fears and maybe lack of knowledge might be holding us back. And so tonight we hope to get rid of all of that. Okay, so tonight we're going to help you build your brand and decide what you stand for and what your brand is all about out there on social media. We will also help you discover some of the stories that you have to tell and help you come up with a framework on how to tell them. Literally, when you walk away tonight, you will have a post, you will have a story, and it will be totally up to you when you post it, tonight or tomorrow. I didn't say if, I said when, tonight or tomorrow. Okay. And you'll also have a better understanding of how to create more engagement from sharing those stories and from coming out and on social media with your brand, you know, in a really confident way. We're also going to help you look at your social in really tangible ways and kind of decide what needs brushed up on. Okay, what are you doing that needs a little bit of work? What kind of things can you tweak in terms of the appearance and the aesthetics of your social media? So it's going to be great. I mean, we're going to be on here for a full 90 minutes. Okay, so I just want you to be ready for that and just to be excited about that, and to be accepting of that. When I think about it, like, I've been so excited about this training since we decided that we were going to do it. And I just want you to look at it as, and I'm sure that everybody here is, or you wouldn't be here. Okay. But like, this is something really cool we get to do tonight. It's nothing that you have to be on. You're all here on a voluntary basis. And so just be excited. What you walk away from tonight, or what the content, the knowledge, and the confidence that you gain tonight, it's going to give you so much to give. And here's the thing though, is that we want you to make sure that if you have coaches on here, your own personally sponsored coaches that are not able to attend tonight, that you teach them the most important things that you learned, but you also share this recording with them when we upload it later tonight. Okay. Now, the very first thing before we even start this is that we want to work really hard on our team to create a culture of sharing our lifestyle and sharing what we do as coaches. And that happens on social media. And we've been having these amazing team-wide workouts, and we've been having you guys are in these new coach groups, and you're doing all kinds of amazing things. You're in challenge groups and things like that. And I want us to, the very first thing that we can do tonight is do a really amazing job of showing the world what you are a part of. Okay, sharing with the world that you're a part of a team, and that you're learning a skill and you're refining your skills so that you can be, you know, a better coach and make a bigger impact. And so the very first thing we're going to do tonight is Siri thinks I'm talking to her right now. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Okay, I don't know what I said where she thought I said her name. So I'm going to mute my audio. You guys are all muted as well. We're going to take 15 seconds to upload a story of us talking, a selfie story where we're talking, where you tell people where you are right now and why you're excited about it. Deal? Okay. And the thing is you got to tag someone. So like your coach, or you have coaches on here, you need to tag somebody. Okay. So that's the very first thing. So what are you doing tonight and why are you excited about it? Okay. So let's do that real quick on our stories, and you got to tag your coach or another coach that you have on here, or a friend that's on here. Okay. I was like, Erica's still talking. Okay, so now you're just gonna type something super short, like whatever it is, and then you're going to tag. So use the @ to tag the names of some of your coaches, or like your upline or your own PS coaches that are on here, because now we'll have some shareable content on our stories as well. So now your audience knows where you are, what you're doing, and why you're excited about it. And probably a lot of people will be like, gosh, I wish I was doing something like that other than doing the dishes. It's fine if they pile up in the sink, by the way. And then you'll also give some other coaches content to put on their stories. People see that you're part of something now. Okay. All right. So as you guys are finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and we are going to get this party started. And I am going to start sharing my screen, because we have some great stuff for you that I cannot wait And then I will pass it over to Erica once we're ready to go. See, you're already taking action tonight. It's so fun. Present. Okay. I think we're ready to go. So Erica, whenever you are ready, sis, we're here for you. How to grow your influence.
All right, you guys, here I am. I'm just loading up my story. So
she's still completing her homework.
Oh, I'm like talking about all the new coaches and new business partners, how excited I am. I can never keep it to just 15 seconds. So
I know, it's hard.
It's all good. So hi, you guys. So happy to be with you today. I am Erica Buzzard, and I am seriously like honored to be kicking off our workshop. Of course, Erin did such an incredible job. But you guys, I'm just ready for you to go all in and just kind of lean into this content. And here's kind of what I want to just preface it by saying. Erin did such a good job of just basically saying like, you're going to be here for this amount of time. We're going to practice these things. We're going to work together. But I really just want to give yourself the opportunity to just breathe. Like, this is a lot of new knowledge for many of us, and that's okay. Like, just let it be new and understand that we are recording this, so you'll be able to go back and reference this at any point in time. So if you miss a part, it's totally fine. Or if you like hit a point where you're like, oh my gosh, my mind is totally blown and you can't necessarily absorb one more thing, just put your ears on and just be here for it. And you can always go back and kind of like catch up. So you guys, we're going to talk about how to grow your influence, your brand, storytelling, posts that engage. I'm going to move this slide forward. Hopefully I can figure out how to do that so that Erin doesn't have to like be in charge the whole time. So there we go. Okay. So your brand, here's what's really awesome. I know that Erin said that we're going to dive into our brand. And maybe that made you feel a little weird because you're like, I don't know what my brand is. And I'm not like McDonald's or Starbucks or Nike. So like, I don't really have a brand. But here's what's amazing is that you are your brand. You're your brand. So when we say your brand, we mean just kind of doing some self-discovery to figure out what you stand for, who you are, who you're becoming. Okay. So again, this is one of those things where this is very much a like in progress, in process thing. And we're learning together, and you're going to get to tonight to kind of just figure out and think about who you are and what you stand for. But the secret is that you are the secret. One of the PD books I am reading right now, Fear is My Homeboy. I know a lot of us are reading this in our various training groups and mentorship groups, but here's the truth. No one else can be you. Only you can be you. This is your power. No one else does it your way. No one else was born with your special gifts and talents. No one else looks like you, walks like you, talks like you, eats like you, writes like you, dances like you, thinks like you, laughs like you. No one else is you, and that is your superpower. So that's reassuring, isn't it? And it's comforting to know that like we have everything we need right now. And now it's just a matter of developing that and sharpening the axe. Okay. And so you're the secret ingredient. So whenever we say don't be salesy, and here's the thing is whenever I talk to new coaches and get new business partners started, right, I'll tell you there's this fear of coming across as salesy and having this kind of like this vision in their mind that like they're walking towards their friends and all their friends like run away because like their friend is walking towards them and they're afraid they're going to be like trying to sell them stuff. Okay. So I can't see your hands, but you can go ahead and say amen. Raise your hand if you've had that fear before, because I know we've all experienced that. But here's the deal. You are not selling anything. You are sharing things that you love, things that work for you, things that you're excited about. That is what we do. Okay. And that is the gift behind what we have to offer. Beachbody is not the brand. It's you. You're the brand. And that is like such a relief, because you are just going to work on being your best you. That's what the brand is. So be authentic, be genuine, be someone who adds value, who is a positive light in this world. You are you, and that is your superpower. And so you might be saying, yeah, that's all great, Erica. Yeah, I'm special and, you know, I'm unique and all the things, but like, how do I then take that, what you're saying, and turn it into my brand, or turn it into messaging on social media? And that's what we're going to dive into next. So I want to make sure you have a clean sheet of paper. I can't see you, which is really hard for me because I'm such like an energy person, and I'm like, I want to see your face, but it's okay. I'm just going to trust that you're smiling and you're feeling really good about this. So we're going to move forward here. And what's kind of crazy is this is me, like, this was like one of the first times I had my picture taken, that picture of me standing there like this. And I was still really trying to develop and figure out like who I am, what I stand for. And this exact like exercise helped me, and still to this day helps me determine my 5 pillars, who I am and what I stand for. Okay, thanks, Erin. You're amazing.
I don't think you can move it, so you guys just tell me when to click. Always. Okay.
Thank you, Levy. Perfect. So we'll move on here to the next one. So 5 pillars, let's get to work. So I wanna make sure you have a clean sheet of paper. Of course, at the top, we wanna make sure that you write social media influencer workshop at the top, the date, because you're gonna come back to this. I promise you, you're gonna reference this, and this is gonna kind of become like your notebook at school, you know, when you're taking college classes or in high school or whatever. Like, these notebooks, I'll tell you, are such a gift. So take out your notebook and let's get to work. This is what I want you to think about. Right now, we're focusing on developing our brand, who we are, what we stand for. I want you to kind of brainstorm topics you are most passionate about. What are you passionate about? Things that you naturally want to post about, things that you like to research or spend your time doing. So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to get started on a list. Again, you can kind of write some other things down, but I'll give you about 2 minutes here to work through this first question. What are some topics you are most passionate about? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet and allow some quiet time here for you to just, and of course it can be more than 3, just get a good list of the things that you're passionate about, things that you love. And as you are writing, I want you to think about things outside of Beachbody coaching. I know for me, Beachbody coaching and this business is a huge part of my life, but I have to really look outside of that and think about the things that I'm passionate about outside of being a Beachbody coach. All right, let's wrap it up here in the next 30 seconds. The next one is, what do you want people to know about you? This could be your hobbies. This could be your line of work. Could be that you love to plant flowers. Do you love antiquing? Could be habits, healthy habits that you think other people need in their life. And the last question I want you to ask yourself as you're making this master list and just getting down the brainstorm, the brain dump of the 5 pillars is there a topic that people ask you for advice on? I see Randy's beautiful braid. Perhaps it's, how do you do a beautiful braid? I mean, it can be something as simple as a hair braid. Or how do you make gratitude a part of your daily life? Or what are you reading? Or me asking Jenny her banana bread recipe. What topic or topics do people ask for your advice on? Because something tells me that those are areas that you might excel, or areas that you might enjoy, or at least that other people perceive that as such. Did you guys get a good list going? I can only see about 3 or 4 of you, but I'm going to guess by those 3 or 4 of you that I can see that we've got a good kind of base here to work with. Erin, you can go ahead and move it to the next slide. So now you've got your wheels spinning here. You're kind of allowing yourself to brainstorm what this could be. Next, we're going to take it one more step. Once you answer those questions, and again, you can always come back to those questions and kind of blue sky time those out, but really it's not that deep. Narrow down to 5 main ideas that best represent who you are and what you stand for. And this very well might change from year to year, or time to time, or season to season even. And so I'll tell you that my 5 pillars have changed from where I was when I first started. When I first started, I was a full-time high school teacher. I had 2 small babies at home. I was married to my ex-husband, who I'm no longer married to. Life was different when I first started coaching. The things that went in my 5 pillars were different than they are now. So just understand that time, chapters of life, seasons of life can change your 5 pillars, but mostly these are going to be areas that best represent who you are and what you stand for. And this is going to be what we call your brand. This is just you. This is just you narrowing down things that you're passionate about, things that you care about, and things that like you are comfortable speaking on. That doesn't mean you're an expert. So the things that I am excited about, that I stand for, are fitness, fun, personal growth, love, and freedom. You notice that I don't have nutrition on here anywhere, because nutrition is not, I mean, I love nutrition. I love what it does for our clients and our team and our coaches. And I'm a believer in nutrition, but it's not necessarily my passion. But you might find another coach who nutrition is just like their end all be all. They absolutely love it. They get really jazzed about that. That is awesome. But for me, I just learned over the past 7 years in the business and just living my life that that's not necessarily one of my main passions, but these are my passions. Fitness. I love training, in-home, group. I love giving tips. I love form and technique. Again, just because you're a Beachbody coach does not mean that fitness has to be one of your top things, okay? It just honestly so happens to be one of my top. Fun, laughter, motherhood, margaritas, games, silly stuff. So see how I've kind of given myself those 5 pillars, but I've also kind of umbrellaed underneath them different things. This is all going to be helpful as the girls kind of break down different ways of telling your story and different posts and things like that. Again, look at this as fun. Look at this as sharing your love and light and your passions with the world, because the thing that's true is when you do this, when you are authentically true to yourself and you're sharing what you're passionate about, you allow other people to do the same. And that's where this work really comes into changing people's lives. The next one, personal growth, gratitude, affirmations, morning routine, personal development, recommendations, daily devotional. I get so many people ask me what I'm reading, what I recommend, and always people asking these types of things. Love, self-care, women empowerment, healthy mindset. That's all something that is who I stand for as a person. And again, that piece wasn't there when I first signed up. That's something that has developed over time. And then freedom, life by design, dreaming big, my Soul Sisters Rising team, you guys, you're a part of my team, being a business mentor. Those things are hugely important to who I am today. So when I'm writing a post, or when I'm showing up in my stories, or when I'm, living my life and showing my brand, these are going to be kind of the things that are going to be showcased. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. So again, I'm going to check the chat. What you're passionate about is controversial? I'm not exactly sure what, I don't know. I mean, it really just depends what it is. I mean, if it's something that you're passionate about, like that could be controversial. Like for example, I'll just throw it out there. Like if you're passionate about like gay marriage, then I think that you should be who you are, but I definitely feel like there is within reason. And we're going to kind of dive into like do's and don'ts, and things like that, because I think there's elements about your brand that you definitely want to be authentic, and you want to have an opinion, but you want to make sure that when you are being you, that there's a lesson, that there's a lesson to be learned. So if you're going to talk about something that could be maybe controversial or negative, you definitely want to spin it so that it has a good lesson and that it's positive solution oriented, if that makes sense. Okay. And that's just going to help you be more of a connective tissue to others. But Deanna, we can definitely talk more about that. And I think we'll probably, dive into that as we move forward here. So hopefully you guys have figured out 5 main areas that best represent who you are, that we can consider your 5 pillars. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my homegirl, Jenny Fellows. She is going to take it on from here. Okay. Also, 5, I would say drop it in the chat, but I just want you to go ahead and circle highlight if you have those 5. And again, we can come back to kind of fleshing that out. All right, Jenny, passing it over to you, sis.
Thank you, Erica. I can't believe it's already my turn. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get my notes together. Okay, you guys, we are just going to talk about some do's and don'ts when it comes to social media. We want you to think of whatever platform you're using, whether you're using Facebook, whether you're using Instagram, it is your storefront, you guys. Everything that Erica just said, that's what you want to show people. You want to relate to people, you want to draw people in. So we have to know what some of those do's and don'ts are. And I think the most important do, we're going to cover those first, is your profile picture. Okay, so I gave an example here on this slide of my profile picture. And later on, I'm going to show you some examples of some old profile pictures that you don't necessarily want to do. But you want a good, clear profile picture of yourself. People are looking to know who you are. They're working with you. They're not working with your pets. They're not working with your kids. You don't want to use like an animal emoji, or you don't want to necessarily probably have a snake around your neck. You want a nice, clear picture of you. This happened to be a picture that was taken, it was like a professional headshot, it was outside, but most of my profile pictures have come from facing a window and taking a selfie. Get that natural light on you. It makes your skin glow. You'll look half your age, and you're not gonna, you don't have to put a filter on it. Be authentically you. That is my one, and I cover that as well. But if anybody knows me at all, be authentically you. So profile picture, that's going to be something we're going to have you make sure that you have a clear profile picture of you, natural light. The other thing I like to do, and I will show this to you later when I share my screen, is I also like to add a description to my profile picture, a little something about me. Maybe it's my mantra, like I want you to love the skin that you're in. Maybe it's just a little bit, a snippet of my journey, just a little something about me. So if somebody does click on my picture, they can learn something about me as well. Next, you're going to have your cover photo. Remember, you guys, this is your storefront. This is who you are. People are going to look at that first before they start looking at your newsfeed. This is an older profile or cover photo that I had, but I wanted to give you a couple different examples. My current one is just a family photo. My family is the most important to me, and it is just a family photo of us that we had done back in the fall. But this was one just to show the different facets of some of my pillars. Of course, you see my family in there. I made this in Canva. Canva is a great website to use. It's free if you want to create collages like this. I talked about being a girl boss, and then that other one was talking about, it's hard to read, but I'm working on a new me. Not that there was anything wrong with the old me, but I know I can improve. So just so you know, there's all kinds of different ideas for your cover photo. I like to add a description to it as well. You know, something about my family, maybe how long I've been, I don't like to use the word beach body a whole lot in those descriptions, but just something so people can relate to you and get to know you. Next, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you can map your feature photos. And what I mean by that is if you go to your profile, and I think there's actually a lot of us coaches that don't even know you can do this, because I did some research and looked at some social media profiles today. You can actually put 9 pictures like in a grid. They're called your featured photos. And I'd really like you to think about what you would want to feature. And I think Erica's content, like I updated mine today, and Thinking about your pillars is exactly what you want to think about with your featured photos. Like I thought about things like my family. I'm a dog mom. I wanted to do like a motivational quote, and I'm going to show you all these rather than jumping back and forth. I will show you all this. I wanted to showcase my team, a transformation picture. A lot of people really know me for the very strong relationship I have with my daughter. So there's a picture of me and my daughter. Think about those 9 photos, because when you add them, you can kind of move them around, make it look pretty. Almost kind of like if somebody was going to your Instagram and they see those first 9 pictures, kind of map it out. Be intentional about it. Make it look pretty. Be authentically you, you guys. Like Erica said, I love that quote from that book. There is nobody else like you. And it is too hard to try to be somebody else. Okay. You're gonna I can't be Erin. I can't be Erica, but I can be Jenny. I can be the best Jenny, and just be authentically you, because people are going to relate to you. Be interesting on your profile. We're going to talk about this later. I know Megan's going to dive into this as well, but you want to be interesting on your profile. You don't want to give everything away, like in your Facebook posts or your social media posts in general. You want to give some curiosity. You want to be interesting. But then when it comes to talking to people in the inbox, you want to be interested. You don't want to just talk about you. You want to talk about the person that you're talking with. You want to pull information from them. But Megan's going to touch on that some more in a little bit. You guys, you have to be consistent on social media. You can't show up one day and then not show up for 5, because people are gonna be like, where'd she go? Okay. I honestly believe that when I first started, people were watching me, and I believe they're waiting for us to fail. And if we don't show up, they're going to think we failed. You have to show up. You have to be consistent. Ideally, we say like 4 to 7 times a week. If you've not been posting on social media and then all of a sudden you're posting 1 or 2 times a day, people may be like, okay, what's going on with this girl? Why is Jenny posting all of a sudden? And it may seem icky to you. I like to post 1 to 2 times a day, but if you can post 4 to 7 times a week on your social media, that's what you need to do. You don't want to post 20 times a day. There is such thing as posting too much. With algorithms and the way Facebook works, way Instagram works, you don't want to overdo it. Put all those extra things in your stories. We're going to have incredible content on our social media feed, and we're going to talk about that, about unraveling your story and telling your story. All the behind the scenes stuff, all the fun things, all the little things, you want to stick that in your stories. I would say at least five of them a day. And I tell my coaches this all the time. The more you share in your stories, when you have a conversation with somebody and it's time to enroll them with a challenge pack, or maybe they want to sign up to be a coach, they already know everything that is what you expect of them. They know that you're drinking Energize, this yellow mommy juice every single morning. They know you're pressing play at home. They know you drink this milkshake every single day after your workout. They know that you sit down at your computer and you do a hustle hour every day. It's going to take out so many of the details of the conversation, because they're going to already know what it is you do and what they need to do to get the results. Have fun, engaging, eye-stopping, clear, and bright photos. I've heard it before, like people they're just scrolling Facebook. They're not looking at the words, they're looking at the pictures to make them stop. And they say, I don't know if they say like you have 3 seconds to make somebody stop on your post. So you want to make sure that you have a bright picture, something that's going to be eye-catching. Maybe you add some words to it, something that's going to make somebody stop in their tracks and want to read what you have to say. Engaging posts. I love this. I've seen so many fun ones recently. One of them was like, when I say like an A-B photo, like I've seen the one going around about how you fold a towel. Okay, that has nothing to do with Beachbody, and that's good, because we don't want everything to be Beachbody. But it is asking people, how do you fold a towel? Do you fold it A, like 3 times, or do you just do a single fold? B. It's engaging. It gets people to converse with you. It starts conversations. Another great example is this or that. Like you're at the boutique store, you're at the shoe store. Which shoes should I buy? Or which outfit should I wear to go out for the first time to a restaurant? People love giving their opinions. So make sure that you do throw in posts like that in your social media. Call to actions. Lindsay's going to cover this later on, but you want to make sure that when you post something, you don't leave people left with, so what? Like, so why did Jenny post that? What is that? How did that make my life richer? You don't want to let people be left with, okay, I just wasted 3 minutes of my time reading that. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't get 3 minutes of my life back. You want to make sure that you are giving great content. And does anybody know that you're a coach? Like, are you sharing your coach life? Are you sharing your workouts? Are you sharing your Shakeology? Are you sharing your team? Are you sharing a transformation picture? I've recently, in one of my mentorships, and this was a gut check for me, on our tracker, it said, do you have a transformation picture in the last 7 days? And I did it. And it doesn't have to be my transformation, but I need to highlight my team or my challengers, or it doesn't even have to be somebody on your particular team. It can be somebody in Fit Fighter Nation. There is a whole folder in Fit Fighter Nation on transformation pictures and with their stories and everything. Go grab them and use them. That's what they're there for. But it's important to let people know that you're a coach, because when they're ready, they're going to find somebody to help them. And if you're not letting the world know that you're there to help them, they're going to find somebody else. Okay, Erin, I think we can go to the next one. You already knew what to do. Okay, the don'ts. And maybe I may have covered a couple of these in the do's by saying, don't do this. Don't only post about Beachbody, you guys. Just like Erica said with your pillars, there's so much more to you, okay? Yes, Beachbody is a big part of our life, but so are so many other things. So make sure that you share things from all of your pillars, okay? You don't want to sound salesy. You don't want people to think it's all you talk about is Beachbody, because it's going to be a turnoff, okay? Avoid negative or political posts. I have seen so many things where, political posts just get people angry and mean with each other. We can all have an opinion, you guys, but honestly, it's probably best to avoid those kinds of things. Avoid the negativity. Avoid ranting on Facebook about something that just really upsets you or something like that. People look to us as a positive light, and we want to, yes, we can be upset. There's lots of things that upset me. There's lots of personal things that I can't share on Facebook. Your social media doesn't need to know everything. There's some things that you can keep gold to yourself, but I really suggest you don't air the negativity or the political posts. Okay, you have a bio in your social media on both Instagram and on Facebook. What does your bio say about you? And that's another thing I'm going to show you here when I share my screen in just a few minutes. I would not suggest using the word Beachbody coach. Once again, it sounds salesy. It sounds like if you're, connecting with new people that maybe you don't physically know, like on Instagram or even on Facebook, and they see Beachbody coach, they may all just have this vision of that person's just going to try to sell me something. I mean, I know I personally feel it if I see somebody that is a 31 consultant or whatever it is. I feel like the only reason they're friending me is because they want to sell me something. So try to avoid that term in your bio. Don't be salesy, you guys. Okay, don't post a picture like I have there down in the bottom. Don't post stock photos. Don't be like, okay, here is what you get for $160. People, like Erica said, they're not buying into Beachbody. Your brand is not Beachbody. People are buying into you. Sorry about my dog. They're not buying a product. They're buying you. So make sure that you're showing things like how you feel and why you maybe drink your Shakeology or things like that. But you don't want to use stock photos. It just looks salesy. I know a lot of us like to just share articles because it seems easy, like even Beachbody blog articles, like, oh, I'm just going to share that because that's a lot of content and that's value. Yes, it is value, but it's taking them to another source. Try to make it your own. Breadcrumb it out, maybe on a couple different posts, put some things in your stories. You don't want to necessarily just share everything like an actual share from another website. Make it your own and provide value to everybody. And don't be scared, you guys. Don't hide. Don't be scared. Be authentically you. Share what you have as your story. People are going to relate to you. Something that I read in story, was it Stories That Stick, was people don't think they have a story, but you have a story. And if you don't tell people, that other people aren't going to realize that they also have a story and that you connect and that you guys can work together and make a difference. Okay, so Erin, let's go. I want to share my screen. And that was really weird, not being able to see faces. That was kind of weird. Okay. So here is my, this is my background picture. So like I said, it's a family picture. And that's where I had showed my old one where I had more of a collage. If you click on this, now I didn't check this beforehand, but if you click on my cover photo, hopefully I have a description there. I do. It's just something very simple. And it goes to where it was taken. But if you click on my profile picture, and I hope I did this again. Let's see, let's view it. Yes. So I just talk a little bit about myself. I'm a busy stay-at-home mom of 4, pushing play at home for 6 years before it was the social thing to do, because this is when we were starting to social distance. And I changed that around. I mean, I've seen different suggestions where they suggest you change your profile even once a month. Change that up. Just tell them a little bit about you. Once again, okay, so this picture was in my basement, you guys. There's nothing fancy about it. Maybe it could have been a little bit brighter, but it was just on selfie mode on a timer for 3 seconds. It does not have to be a headshot or anything like that. Now I want to show you guys the featured photos. So I worked on this today, and you can put 9 pictures in here. And I really try to think of my pillars. And I think that if somebody were to come look at this, they would say, okay, well, she's got a family. There's her husband. This picture, I've got my team. I've got my before and after picture. I have my coach, meeting Autumn. People know I like to have fun. I feel like that is just like, there's fun Jenny right there. I tell people all the time to be yourself and to love the skin you're in. I'm a dog mom. There's my daughter. We have an amazing bond, and people will ask me a lot about our relationship. And like, I want to have a relationship like you have with your daughter when my girls are older. Team, another part of our upline team, we'd like to go and have fun on the beach, and stronger every day. So it's kind of one of my it's fitness, but it also telling people like, it's not so much about skinny, it's about being stronger every day. And then in your, let's see. Oh, this is the bio up here where you can edit this. I don't know if anybody has their bio. So I basically, like, I'm a mom of 4, I'm a fashionista, I want you to love yourself, and I let them know where they can connect on IG. But I wanted to show you a couple other examples. So I checked out Erica today, and I wanted to show you, because I wanted to show you how people do different things. So Erica has a cover photo of the team, of us having fun, a great profile picture, and she talks about that, you know, in her bio. And she's got her 9 pictures there too. No, wait, these are your feature. You could put 3 more pictures in there, Erica. But I wanted to show you also, okay, so I checked out Erin. Are you guys nervous? I love how Erin's bio, it's not like mama for, it's more of kind of like a mantra, or a motto. So just know that there's so many different options on what you could do there. And then I also wanted to show you Lindsay Rohr, her feature photos, because she recently updated hers. And I also liked her profile picture here. She updated this recently. So I'm going to click on this. She also had a description here. And it was about talking about body image. So I love how you can tell a story with your profile picture. But if you go down here, okay, why can't I go down here? Okay. Here are Lindsay's pictures. So you could tell like there she is in the kitchen. There's her transformation. There's her family. There's her food. There's a quote. She's a dog mama. She loves the outdoors. There's Noah she's got her little one up there, and family. So I already know like all of Lindsay's pillars just by looking at her featured photos right there. So this is your storefront, you guys. Like she did a collage type picture. I like this because it talks like her transformation, her family, and it tells you what you can expect when you're working with Lindsay. So next, you can go ahead and share the next slide, Erin. We want you to take a second to audit your account. And if you have questions, I mean, you could unmute, you can ask questions, but these are the things, like we'll take a few minutes here. And some of this stuff, like maybe, and I should have told you to do this ahead of time, to take screenshots of, but I'm sure we can share our slideshow in Fit Fighter Nation as well. So you know your do's and don'ts. If you don't have a good profile picture, I'm not saying that you have to do it this minute, but maybe you do have a photo in your phone or something that you can upload. If not, do that this week. Oh, I wanted to show you some of my bad ones, so I'll show you those in a second. If you've got some negative posts on there, things that they don't have any value and nobody liked or commented on them because they didn't want to hear the negativity either, you guys can go delete them. Like nobody's going to know that you deleted a post. So just get rid of all that negativity. And you want to make sure, like if Erin or Erica or Lindsay or Megan or I went to your social media, would we know that you're a coach? Have you shared anything in the last 3 days or 5 days that says anything about your journey, that you want to help people and that you're a coach, like what you do and why you love to do it? And hopefully if you don't, you're going to leave with that this evening. Like you're going to leave with that story that is going to answer all those questions. But do they know how you can help them? Like I said, with a transformation picture, have you in the last 7 days shared some type of transformation to show people? Because the algorithm of Facebook and Instagram is such that you think like if you have 1,000 friends, you think that those 1,000 friends are seeing every single post that you post every single day. They are not, my friends. They are not. So if you shared a transformation picture last week, truth is maybe 10% of your friends saw it, if that. And if you shared it this week, it's not going to be the same 10% of friends. So you have to continue sharing that. Okay, let me share my screen one more time, Erin.
Wait, we have to move forward, sissy.
Okay. Well,
no,
I have a bad
great. Yeah,
picture.
I'm just looking at the time and I want to make sure that we don't keep people up too late. So no, I think that was great. Just trust all of us in knowing that if you were to scroll back on our social media a few years ago, it was not good. Okay. We've all come a long, long way. All right. Okay. So we're going to switch gears. Because we were very tangible in the aesthetics of our social media, because that is a lot of it, is to be scroll stopping and to get people's attention. But what I think makes the biggest difference, honestly, is the caption and the story that you're telling with it. A lot of us have read Kendra Hall's book, Stories That Stick, or maybe some of us have started it, or we had great intentions, or we've heard her speak a couple of times. And it is a phenomenal book. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of a Cliff Notes version of how to develop and unwrap and reveal some of the stories that you have to tell. I think this is the most powerful piece of your social media beyond the photo, you know, because it's the heartbeat and the pulse of who you are, and it lets people really connect with you. And I know for the longest time for me is that I just didn't feel like I had any stories, or maybe that I wasn't really worthy of telling those stories. Like, who do I think I am? Like, I'm a small town girl from Southern Indiana. There was nothing special about me. I was a teacher. I was a mom of two. Like, it just seemed so ordinary and mundane. So what kind of story do I have to tell? But we all have a story, and we all have many stories within us. And it doesn't, and I think sometimes we think telling our stories means like airing our dirty laundry, and it doesn't mean that at all. It means sharing who you are, what's important to you, and those little nuggets that people are going to relate to. So it's not fear that holds us back from telling our stories. It's just the assumption that we don't have a story to tell. And I think for the most part is a lot of us just need a little bit of prompting. And so for me, as a former high school English teacher, this part of the presentation is like my bread and butter, and I'm so excited about it, because I know that within you, every single person here has a story to tell. In fact, you have so many. And the thing is that because you are here on this live, or because you're watching the playback, it is imperative now, after you go through this, that you've got to tell these stories. Okay. So we're going to make that deal with each other. So for me, all of these photos could be the most amazing story that I get to tell you tonight, or I get to tell you tomorrow, or this week in my social media. I can link them all to pivotal moments, to important moments, to first, to value, to so many different things. And all of these stories matter. And if I was going to tell you the story of this first time I got to take our family to Disney World, because I saved up our income that we made from Beachbody, and riding this ride and getting the most picture perfect, you know, moment on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, capturing the faces on my children of that happiness, all the hard work was so worth it, right? You would remember that story. It caught your attention with that story. Or the picture in the middle. That's one day when Avery was home from school, from preschool, one of the days that I worked so hard to have every Tuesday and Thursday at home with her, because I worked so hard in our business to become a full-time coach. That day right there, I'll never forget it, because we laughed and we got dressed up. She wanted to be like me. It was so cute. Or the other story where it was my first summit. There's so many stories there that I could pull out and tell. And what stories do is they do more than just tell you that I love Shakeology. They do more than tell you that I'm a coach. They do more than say, I can help you get a transformation. What they do is they don't just tell, but they show. And more so than showing, they connect us. They make me relate to you. You relate to me. They allow me a chance to help you step into my shoes and to see that you can do this too. It gives you hope. It gives you your own courage. That's what stories do. They're so relatable and they're memorable. They make you stick out on social media. Among the sea of sweaty selfies, maybe yours will stick out. Among the sea of parents posing with their children, or you taking a selfie outside in front of one of those photos with the butterfly wings on the back, right? It sets you apart. And it truly is the most profitable sales and marketing technique out there right now. Huge Fortune 500 companies are paying people to help them tell stories. And we can do it every single day on social media and not have to pay anyone a dime, which is really amazing. And so the first thing I want to teach you are the 4 types of stories. So write these down, because you need to know the 4 types of stories. In my mind, knowing the 4 types of stories helps you make a decision and almost compartmentalize all of these ideas that are getting ready to come to you right now. Okay. So there are 4 types of stories to tell. Before I even go into them, and they're super, super simple, just know this. I don't feel like your entire social media should be dripping with stories. And tonight we're not teaching you how to map out your content. We'll do that in another training, okay? But I'm saying at least 2 of your posts each week should be stories. That's what I'm saying, not every day, okay? And these are honestly really simple too. Okay, so the first kind of story is a value story. Value. Like, for example, like, I want you to know about the value of Shakeology. Instead of just telling you about it, I'm going to tell you a story about it, about my husband's cholesterol that dropped, right? That he was bordering 300 points with his cholesterol, but he drank this shake and yada, yada, yada. I would tell a story about the value of Shakeology. So a value story is a story about how our product affects us or the customer. A purpose story is the why behind what we do. Okay, the picture that you saw at Disney World on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and the look on my kids' faces and our faces riding that ride for the first time in our lives, I could tell you why I do what I do and why I will never quit and why it's worth it every single day. Founder story, how it all started, the first moment. You remember the first time you pressed play on a workout, right? Remember that? Like, can I do this? Am I going to do this? I don't have the right clothes. I don't know how long this is going to last. Like that, oh my gosh, that crazy feeling inside your stomach the very first time, or when you said yes, like how it all started, the founder story. So cool. I love those stories. And then the customer story, when you get to tell the story of someone else. Those are so powerful. And that's a story that I think we could do a better job telling, myself included. So those are the 4 types of stories. Okay. Categorize that. You've got it in your notes. Now let's kind of start brainstorming some of the stories that we have within us. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to collect our stories, and then we're going to decide how to choose which ones to tell. Okay. So right off the bat, I want you to just, as I'm talking, I want you to write. Okay. I want you to just kind of listen to me, but have your pen just going on your piece of paper. Okay. So you don't need to write down anything that's here, because these are all my ideas that I'm going to share with you. You write down your own. Okay. So the first part in collecting in stories is to think about nouns, people, places, and things that stand out to us, that might mean something to us, that might provoke a memory, that might provoke a moment for us. For example, a parent, a child, a sibling, maybe our hometown where we're from, maybe where we went to college, maybe the first place we ever lived, the first home, maybe where we live now, maybe a street that's important to us. People, places, Disney World for me. Think about things. Looking into the bathroom mirror. Maybe looking at the sea of clothes in your closet. The massive amounts of shoes that you've been collecting. For me, one of my stories revolves around the bus stop. The one pair of jeans. I have a story that comes to mind when I think about this one pair of jeans. The alarm clock going off at 4 a.m. An email I got once from an angry parent that made me feel like I didn't matter. The bank account being in negative numbers. My very first iPhone that I bought with my Beachbody money. Things, people, places that could provoke a memory, that could be a story to tell. So just write down anything that comes to mind. Could be vacation spots you love, places you want to travel to. Could be a photo that you have that means something to you. Could be a location far away or close, right next to you right now. Could be someone important to you, someone who made you feel special, someone who hurt you, someone who's impacted your life and they don't even know it. So we can just think about all of those things, people, places, and things. I love it. We could also think about our first. And so again, your job is to just write, okay? As I'm saying this, I'm trying to just help you come up with ideas. maybe story starters, story beginnings, ideas. Think about first. And you could go back as far back as you want to in your childhood. For me, the very first thing I thought of was holding my baby for the first time. Or the day that I graduated from college and bawled my eyes out, terrified of the future, but also really excited. The day that I said yes to coaching, the first paycheck I ever received, or the first 3, 4, or 5-figure paycheck. The first program I ever completed or ever started, the first workout, the first Shaco, the first yes I ever received as a coach and a business owner, or the first no, or maybe the first time someone told you you couldn't do something. Any kinds of first. They don't all have to even be positive to tell a great story. So you guys continue writing down some of your ideas, and then I'll switch it to the next one. Continuing to collect our stories, there's 2 other kind of categories I want you to consider, and just keep writing as I'm talking. And some of you are really new in this business, but maybe there are questions and objections that you perhaps had, okay? So in our business, we hear no all the time, and we also get a lot of questions. So what if we took some of those objections or questions that people asked us and we talked about them, but instead of just telling, we show it through story? It's too expensive. I'm too busy. It's the wrong time. I'm out of shape. I don't do shakes. That's what I said. I think Erica said the same thing. Okay. I don't like to work out. I only like the gym. I have a trainer. I don't like to cook. I'm not motivated like you are. How do you get up so early? How do you eat so healthy? I laugh at all of these because I'm like, I don't know, right? Okay, and I've said them all. I've probably said them all. I'm speaking from personal experience. And then other questions to consider that could lead you to a great story. The proudest you've ever been in your business or on your journey so far. Like, I just think about a lot of us, you know, like for a lot of us, the very first time we've ever completed something is because we're a coach. You know, we're a lot of us are the perpetual quitters. But for the first time ever, you're staying true to yourself and to your commitment to yourself. So like, that's a really cool story to tell. The happiest you've been so far in your journey or in your business. The hardest time. Whose life is different because of your business? Maybe your first yes. Maybe the moment you thought you couldn't, but you did. Or the moment you knew the work was worth it. So just take a moment to write down any ideas that come to mind. And I think too, even a lot of you that are new coaches, the fear that you feel, acknowledging that, but the hope and the excitement, relating that to another time that maybe you felt the same. I think that's really cool. So to me, the way my brain works is I like to put things in categories. I like to make lists. And so I would want to, if you told me, hey, tell at least 2 stories a week, I'd want to be a little methodical about that and not just randomly throw up a story, but say, well, what's my purpose this week, right? On social, like, what am I wanting to do this week on social media? Well, my goal is to hit Success Club or to help 3 people this week or 1 person this week. I want to help 1 person get started this week. So can I tell a story that's going to relate to my people, my audience? You know, like, can I do that? Yeah, of course you can. So if I want somebody to say yes and understand the value or how it can impact them, you know, maybe this week I'm going to tell a story that does share value, right? Maybe this week I would tell a story of David and his cholesterol. Or maybe I'd choose a customer story because maybe I want to share the results of a customer, how someone's life has changed that I've been working with, and maybe I'd want to tell their story. So choose a value. So we can be intentional. We can be methodical. We're not just going to throw, you know, what, I don't know. There's so many different terms, spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks or whatever. We want to be methodical about it. Like, we want to think about it. So choose a value story if you want more effective sales. Choose a purpose story if you want to relate to your audience. You want to help them understand that you're a lot alike, or to create some engagement, right? Choose a founder story if you just want to increase your credibility, your confidence in your audience, between you and your audience. Choose a customer story if you want better sales and credibility. So hopefully you guys have written down a bunch of ideas, and you see that those ideas for stories do kind of fall into different categories, and those categories have a purpose. And so what Megan is going to do next is she's going to help you maybe take one of those ideas and develop it into a story. Because probably right now you're still kind of like deer in the headlights. Oh my gosh, like, I'm not a writer, right? I don't know if I can do that, but she's going to make you feel really good about it, and you're going to be awesome. Okay. So let's turn it over. Megan.
Awesome. Thank you. So I remember looking around, and I remember thinking, if I can run faster than any of these people, I'm going to survive. And I saw some people over to my left, and they were older people, and I could tell they were older people because they had gray hair and they were older than what I was. I saw some people to the right, and I hate to be rude, but they were out of shape. I could tell they were out of shape. So I thought, I've got this. I'm going to live today. What had happened was we were driving through Yellowstone National Park. And if you've ever been out west, you know that if you see a bunch of cars that are lined up along the side of the road, there's something to look at. You need to get out and you need to look at it. We got out and we went to look at it, and it was a grizzly bear, the biggest grizzly bear that I have ever seen in my life. And the only thing that separated us and that grizzly bear was a stream of water. And that grizzly bear had an elk, and it was tearing that elk to pieces. But guess what? I had been doing insanity. So I knew that I was in shape, and I knew that I could run fast. I don't know about my husband. He was on his own. But I knew that I was making it out of there, and that grizzly bear was not going to get me. And I could stand there, and I could enjoy the moment. And I could even take some pictures of this grizzly bear, because for whatever reason, we thought this little stream was protecting us. All right, I am going to talk a little bit today about how to tell your stories and the stories that you have. And I have this quote down here. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear the sound, does it make a sound? This is an age-old question, but I want to bring that back to your story. If you know your story, if you craft your story, but you never tell your story, does it matter? No. Maybe to you, but no. You've learned all of this. We have filled you with knowledge tonight. But knowledge is not going to be power if you don't tell your story. So I want you to pick one of the things that Erin just walked you through, one of those stories, and let's go with a value story. Because the story that I just shared about the grizzly bear, that's a value story. That's telling you that you need to be doing my 30-minute workouts so that you can not be eaten by a bear. So pick a value story, and I'm going to kind of walk you through that value story and how you can turn this into a post that you can post on social media tonight. So Erin, next slide. Move the faces out of the way. Identifiable characters. So these are the parts that you need to have in your story. Identifiable characters. Someone we care about and we connect to, not a product. A friend does not walk up to you and say, let me tell you about this trip that I took on this Disney cruise, and then start telling you the facts about the Disney cruise. Start telling you about how much it costs and this and that. They don't start laying all the facts out. Just like we should not do when we're talking about our products. We shouldn't bring that Shakeology cup and start telling them all the facts about the Shakeology. We need to have an identifiable character. And as we learned earlier with Erica, that identifiable character most of the time is going to be you. Authentic emotion. Emotion felt by the character, by you, not the emotion that you want the person listening to the story to feel, which most of the time they're going to, but the emotion that you felt during that story. Frustration, wonder, fear, curiosity. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Honestly, when I hear over dramatic stories, it kind of turns me off, especially if they're constantly. That's my oldest daughter. She is always telling overly dramatic stories. They don't need to be dramatic. Just share your story. For me and that bear story, it was fear. I was scared when I got out of that car and I saw a grizzly bear for the first time in my life. So authentic emotion in your story. A significant moment. I didn't say I was in Wyoming and I saw a grizzly bear. I brought you to that moment in time when we were driving down the road and we saw the cars on both sides of the road. We were in Yellowstone National Park. I brought that broad moment, that big vacation that we took, and I brought it into one specific moment in time. And then specific details. And I may not have done a great job in that story telling you the specific details, but talk about the grizzly bear and how big it was and the color that it was and the teeth. And, you know, I talked a little bit about the people next to me and they had the gray hair, and the people on the other side of me were a little bit out of shape. Make sure you're sharing those details, because those details are really going to help people relate and remember your story. The details in the story are what's going to help people remember that story. Can't tell you how many times I've had a client reach out to me and say, I remembered you talking about this or in that story, and that's why I'm coming to you. That's why I'm talking to you. All right, next slide, Erin. And just to tell you, you don't always have to include all of those things. All of those things don't always have to be in your story, but the more that you can include, the better. Okay, next. What is your following interested in? Topics related to health and fitness, or one mental step away? Most of my clients, most of the people that follow me on social media are not interested in fitness. I'm going to be honest, they're not interested in fitness. But what they are interested in is outdoor hiking. They are interested in camping, because that's the things that I love. Those are my pillars, and those are the things that I talk about all the time. And those people connect to me. And that was one mental step away from doing those insanity workouts. So I brought it into something that they were interested in. And again, Jenny earlier talked about being interested versus interesting. In your social media, you need to be interesting. You need to have an interesting story. But when you take that behind the scenes and you're having those private messages, you need to be interested. You don't want to word vomit. You don't want to tell them everything that you know and love about Beachbody. You want to be interested in them and their goals and what they need. Don't make demands. Be generous, be informative, be funny, be inspiring, be all the characteristics that we enjoy in human beings. You don't need to go on your social media and say, you need to work out, you need to eat healthy, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's what storytelling is going to do for you. It's going to enable you to tell a story and to be funny. I saw Lisa Luma when I was telling my story laughing. I was trying to be funny. Be generous, be informative, be those things when you're telling your stories. Use the hooks. I hope that when I told my bear story that I really hooked you in with that first sentence of I looked around and knew if I could run faster than one person that I would survive. Some other hooks that I have used in the past was I had a picture of my family at SeaWorld, and my first sentence said, I didn't even want to be there. I just wanted to go home. I had a picture of Addie on her horse, and it said, Lizzie tripped, and they both went down hard. I had a picture of me in front of some drums and said, I remember walking into band my 6th grade year and deciding I was going to play the drums. Those are all things that I hope right now, after just saying those things, that maybe you want to hear more about those stories and you want to learn more about what I was talking about in those things. So make sure you've got that good hook to bring them in, to make them want to continue reading. And an eye-catching photo. And something about this eye-catching photo, you don't have to post the picture that is in front of you that day in that moment. I've shared that grizzly bear story a few different times. It wasn't the day that it happened. Take pictures. Be a collector of those moments. Get in the habits of taking pictures and have a big area on your phone of saved pictures where you can go back and pull those moments and then talk about those stories. And also, I want to talk a little bit in that section about curiosity marketing. None of those stories did I have my Shakeology cup up. None of those stories were a sweaty selfie. It was a picture of Addie on a horse. It was a picture of me at SeaWorld. You know, it was all things where my followers wanted to know a little bit more about what's she going to talk about. What is this picture about? All right, Erin, next slide. Oh, that's not the next slide. There we go. Practice doesn't make perfect. It does get easier. The more you tell your story, the easier it is to tell your story. But it's not going to be perfect. I want you, because I feel like we've probably given you so much information, and I walked you through that story and how you can create your own story, that maybe right now you're thinking, oh my gosh, how do I tell this story? It doesn't have to be perfect. Focus on your message. Focus on your message, not necessarily the words. You've told a story before. You've sat down in a room of friends and said, let me tell you a story. This is awesome. That's what you need to be doing on social media. When you're telling your story, it's going to come out naturally. So I hope that you were able to take one of your stories and to really think about those different pieces and add it in there, and that you'll have a story to share on your social media tonight. And I am going to hand it over to Lindsay.
That was awesome, Megan. Thank you. I know Megan very well, and I have so many questions for her by all those hooks that she just gave us based on those photos. So I can't wait to talk to you more and learn more about what happened with Addie and her horse. So thank you for those awesome examples, Megan. All right, so I'm going to bring it all home tonight. All right, ladies and gents. Tonight I want to talk to you about when you're sharing your story, how you get your audience to respond, to engage on your page, so that you know that they've read it, so that you know that they've connected, so that you know that they have questions, okay? So call to action, plain and simple, is a call that tells your audience what to do after they've read your story, after they've looked at your photo and laughed because you had a funny caption, or after you've talked about body image, like Jenny showed in mine, and just said how you struggled with it. Whatever it is that you're sharing, you're going to add value or entertain or really connect with people. And what we're going to do with a call to action is to allow them to engage with us, to engage back, right? So at the end of our post, we might do something like double tap this photo if you blank, drop an emoji if you, and I often use if you can relate, or if you want more info, right? Most of us have used something like that or read other coaches who've used some of these common ones. Comment below and tell me. I saw a really effective influencer. She had like all of her PJs and crazy hair. She said she hadn't brushed her teeth yet that day. And she said, comment below and tell me what your typical quarantine apparel looks like, right? After she had kind of shared a little bit more about that. Another one that we see often is tag 2 friends that you think would enjoy whatever you're talking about. Maybe it's a recipe, all right? Another option is bookmark or screenshot this post in Instagram. That's something that can really impact your following and your engagement. So these are just a few examples of what a call to action is. And I'm hoping that maybe you've either used one of these or you've read some of these call to actions that allow more engagement on your page, on your social media platform, so that you can reach more people and you know who's really resonating with you. Erin, do you mind moving to the next slide, please? All right, so I called the next one hook, line, and sinker, because what I did when I did some research on call to actions, I was looking for more value to provide for you all here tonight. And I want you to consider asking a question or making a statement at the beginning of your story that you're telling, all right, in order to lead them to the end, where then you will tell them what to do with a call to action. So we've heard about this and had amazing examples already tonight of how to hook someone. But I was telling the leaders as we were planning out this call for you all tonight, I said, I really wanted to take something that we're all kind of used to seeing in coaching and make a twist with it, all right? A lot of times we talk about the before and after with weight loss, right? And here you see a photo in 2017 when I was 20 pounds, in 2018 when I was 20 pounds heavier than the photo on the right when I was in 2017 when I was 20 pounds lighter, okay? And I kind of called out to my audience. I said, can you believe that I was actually 10 times more confident in the photo on the left than I was on the right? And I started talking about mindset and limiting beliefs and lies, all right? So I'm hooking them. And then at the end, I wanted them to really be thinking about growth mindset and what they struggle with as far as confidence goes. Because I know that so many of the women that I talk to that have already signed up with me, that was their biggest thing. I want to be more confident. So this was my call to action. Anyone else struggle with confidence? Comment below if confidence is something you want more of. And in the past, I was, as far as me posting that, I was like, oh, that's asking them to be vulnerable. But what I found with my audience is they're a lot like me. They love to be vulnerable and they love to talk about this kind of stuff. So this is something for me that really worked as far as using a call to action that was really authentic to my story and how I finding the people that I want to engage more with. All right, next slide, please, Erin. All right, so this is a photo of my firstborn, and Erin mentioned that those first, right, tonight. And I wanted to say here, when we're connecting with people, when we're thinking about kind of telling our story and giving them a call to action, sometimes we need to tell them exactly what to do. Comment below, post an emoji, right? But if someone is seeing your post, and oftentimes even just a photo like this on a big life experience, and they themselves experience emotional response. Oh my gosh, they had their first baby, right? You don't necessarily need to say, hey, tag below if you're happy for Mike and I, right? So what I wanted to do here was to share, this is Noah Anthony Rohr, right? I gave the stats, I did all of that, and we are so excited we're here. And when we think about providing value to others, I want to just kind of piggyback on what every other speaker on this call has said, people care about you and your well-being. If you share a celebration, if you share a struggle, they're going to connect with you. And it's not the 1,000 followers that you're striving to have. It's the one person who needs you right now. Okay, so when we think about a call to action, I want you to think about just speaking. Even though you're speaking to a large group of people, I want you to speak with your call to action to the one person that you hope to talk to this about. All right. So again, a little play on a call to action being something that you might need to do, or in this case, something that you might not need to do. So when we think about call to actions, I want to encourage you, about 90% of your posts, consider one way that you can tell them how to engage. All right. But then the 10%, you want to think about big life events, and they can be past events. I actually pulled up this photo for this training, and I'm going to use it again. And I'm going to talk about that first, and about how I felt, and about the fears and things that I had. And I'm going to add some value to my postpartum mamas. And I can't wait to re-share this story, because I know that photo is going to evoke so many emotions to others. Okay. And I will use a call to action in that one, because we didn't just have a baby. All right. So I'm going to end tonight just showing you a couple examples of some calls to actions that I thought were wonderful. Now, this first one up top is Katie Steckley. She is not a Beachbody coach. She is a social media teacher or instructor, if you will, and she teaches people how to build businesses on social media. If you go to her page and her YouTube channel, you'll find so many valuable resources as to how to work your social media. So giving her a shout out tonight. But I loved this one, and I referenced it just a moment ago about her attire for quarantine. And she said, what does your real look like these days? Are you feeling like yourself? Are you feeling good enough? I want to know. And she just used the point down emoji, right? Telling them, showing them how to engage. And then the one right below is one of Erin's success partners, Kelsey Shackley. She's a rock star on social media. I've watched her in the past few years grow her social media tremendously. And one of her calls to action here is want in, curious about the details. There is 0 strings attached, just to seek out more info. All you need to do is comment below more info, and I'll select my 15 women to join me. Okay, so tell them what to do. And I put in here also, if you can bold that question, if you can make it stick out with emojis, just letting them know, like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to engage with me. That's going to be great too. So on the next slide, I'll show you just a few more options where I know for me, I didn't put that many call to actions in the past, because the only one type of call to action that I ever used was dropping an emoji below. That was my comfort zone, and I used it all the time. And we talked about, like, we look back on our social media before, it wasn't bad. It was us learning the ropes. Just like when we do our first workout, I only had 5-pound weights the whole first time I did 21-day fix, right? And now I have a set of Bowflex where I can go all the way up to 50. And I'm so proud of that, girls. But our social media is just like a muscle. We got to build it. And the only way you're going to build it, and I don't mean that by numbers. What I mean that is build your confidence in sharing your story and how you're going to do these things. Okay? Girls and guy, I got to keep that in mind. All right? All right. So just a few more examples here. Kelsey used the point down button in the photo with her dog here. Share below what name. Okay, we all know puppies and kittens. Like, if you have access to a puppy and kitten, that's going to get you some more people engaging. It's a done deal. So that would be something to consider. All right. Maybe you ask about how to take care of your dog. I had that in my stories today about my dog having stomach problems, and it came up, right? So your call to action is, what would you name him? How do you cure your dog's stomach issues? Those kinds of things people are going to relate to if they're a dog or cat person with you, right? Another call to action, this was one of my favorites. Kelsey's in her daughter's little electronic Jeep there, and she said it's hump day. So just flash some peace sign and keep rolling. Okay. But then in these other two, she's asking to either tag a friend for if they can relate to the quote that she did, or for a recipe or a kind of synopsis of a book or something like that, consider asking them to bookmark that page. That is such great engagement for you on your Instagram, that is just one more option of something that you can give them a call to action to do. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up right here and just say, I know sometimes when I don't get a lot of responses when it comes to a call to action, when it comes to sharing my story that I poured my heart out to, we will get more responses when we're social on social media. Social media was made for us to be social on. So in order for people to engage on my post and in my call to action, I need to go in and spend intentional time on all those other pages. Okay, so don't ever feel defeated if you don't get the likes or you don't get the comments. This is something, like I said, it's building up a muscle of you being confident and you posting consistently. All right, so you all have a story. You all are so worthy of sharing with the world your light, and whatever sense that is. Your sense of humor might be different than someone else's, but put it out there, because there's someone that relates to you more than they do the other person who has more likes or more engagement and things like that. We're not going to do the comparison game. Instead, what I want you to do is to look at your social media, your sharing story sharing platform right now. And I want you to start tracking. I want you to just start considering how you're growing from within and how your audience, your people, the people that you want to attract. You don't want just anyone, right? You want your people there. So my call to action to you tonight is to go on Facebook and go on Instagram right now. Look at the last 5 to 9 posts, just a glance, and write in the comments here what was the highest number that you got for either comments or likes on one of those posts. And again, we're not comparing here. Any of our coaches on this team who've been in the business for 7 years, do you think they're going to have more? Yeah. And a coach who just signed up yesterday, do you think you're going to have very few because you haven't been actively engaged on social media? For sure. This is your starting point. This is you looking at your most recent efforts to put your story out there and to say, what's the highest amount of likes that I got this week? And next week, I want you to see if you go and be social on social media and you show up consistently in your own social media platform, will that start to go up? And you're not comparing it to anything, any other likes or comments than your own. All right. And what I've started to do is track my comments and my likes, because they're two different things in the algorithm from what we understand. It's an ever-changing algorithm, right? But ladies and gents, like, this is something that will help you progress you and you stay focused on your storytelling. Okay. That's a simple thing that I'm doing right now. Now, tracking our progress, just like in our physical journey, you might find something that works better for you that a different coach is doing. And that's okay. But this is one tool, one idea that might work for you to just start tracking if you're being social enough on social media to get your platform, to get your calls to action, to get your story out there more. All right. I cannot wait to see how this starts to evolve with all of us on this team. And I want to just end with one thing. Staying close to the fire is so important. And when I say that, that fire could be, we talked about like those of us who wanted that morning routine at 4 a.m., right? The only way we're going to get to something aspirational that seems so far out of reach is if we're talking to people and interacting with people that are waking up at 4 a.m., right? If we want to get to be a good storyteller and get to understand ourselves and what we have that's worthy as a coach, we got to stay close to the fire. So let's meet. Show up on the team calls. Show up. There's the National Wake Up Call and things like that. That's going to continue to light your fire so that you have the mindset, you have the words, that will all just start coming naturally to you in your storytelling and every part that we talked about tonight. Okay. We believe in you all so much, and we cannot wait to see that. And Megan's, I see her comment coming up right now. She's already noticing now that she's tracking her progress on how her numbers have gone up. So kudos to you, Megan, and to anyone else who's already noticing that. But start here, start now, and just see what next week looks like. I see all the numbers coming in right now. Great.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, we're wrapping this up for real now. Okay, and I hope that tonight has been super, super helpful. And then Jenny and Megan and Erica, Lindsay, if you guys want to look at the chat box while I'm kind of finishing it to see if there's any questions that we want to answer from anybody that we miss. I'm seeing the numbers come in. That's all I can see right now, so that's good. So the thing of it is that we've all been to a lot of trainings. We've all been to a lot of workshops before. And the key is that we implement. That's a number one thing that we do, is that we've all shown up tonight and given our time and energy to be here and arranged our schedules to make this happen. And so we have to make sure that we take this knowledge and we take what we've learned and we implement it. And so we have two main calls to action. So Lindsay gave you a call to action, gave you a couple of them, okay? And then we know we're gonna post stories and things like that. But also, I'm aware that we need to take this content and break it down a little bit, because we're all in different places on our journey with our businesses. And so number one, real quick, okay, just on your piece of paper, what are at least 3 things, 3 tasks that you know you need to complete this week to level up your social media? Okay, could be some of the things that Jenny shared. Maybe it's like you need to really sit down with the pillars activity. Maybe that's something you didn't quite finish up and you know that's important. Maybe even brainstorming some of those list of stories and writing those out, whatever it is. But what are 3 tasks that you will complete this week to level up your social media? Okay. So make sure you do this. So make sure you write those down. Even sharing them in the chat box is great, because it helps give other people ideas as well. And it also helps them know that they're not alone. Okay. And then the second thing you would want to do is to actually look in your calendar and schedule in your blue sky time so you can get these things done. Now, blue sky time is where you are not sending invites, you're not posting, you're not scrolling, you're not in your challenge groups, you're actually just sitting down, you've got your journal, you've got your notebook, and you're just writing, you're brainstorming, you're planning, you're creating. A lot of times in our adult lives, we don't give ourselves that space to think and to create. And I'll tell you what, it's one of the most beautiful gifts you can give yourself, is space to think and to almost kind of like remember and to create. Because when you do that, you're going to open up so much space on your social media for engagement and authenticity. And so we want to make sure that you actually put that in your calendar. Like, this is something you're going to be doing on Saturday morning or Sunday or whatever. And I would also really like to challenge you to tell someone, like, grab an accountability buddy and either do it together on a Zoom call, or just say, make sure that I've gotten this done because this is really important to me, and make sure that you do that. But blue sky time is something that it's precious, it's wonderful, it's almost like a recharge time, but it's a time to really just kind of think about how you want to show up in your business and ideas that you have. All right, so I see that what you guys, yes, I mean, Lisa, you're so right. Lisa just said this. To be honest, I can't remember the last time I sat down to create and allowed myself time to create. Such a good reminder. And so hopefully tonight you kind of started that. Like, I hope tonight was awesome. We didn't talk about inviting people. We just talked about like figuring out who we are and how we can show up on social media to use who we are right now to make that kind of impact and to reach our audiences and engage our audiences. And so I'm just so ready to see you guys soar. Now, moving forward too, the thing of it is that we, as your coaches or your coaches on here, you know, we're all on the same team. We're all connected in so many different ways. we want to see you sharing these kinds of things on social media. I'm not scrolling social to see what everybody else is doing. I don't do that because I get in a danger zone of comparison. Okay. And so if you are starting to share your story, and if you are kind of nervous about it, tag your coach, tag people on this team, like tag them in that post so that we see that and we can cheer you on. And don't be scared to do that for your other teammates too. When you see them sharing like part of their story, or maybe something that seems scary or something that seems funny, or they're asking people to drop the deuces below, right? Do it. Like engage with your team too, because it feels so good to have support of other people, even if it's a teammate, right? Even though you're looking for people who want to join you in your challenge group, but when a teammate drops a heart below and says, this was the best decision I ever made, it's like the best feeling ever to have that support from your team. So when you go out there and you start to do this, tag your coaches, tag your teammates, and also when you see a brother or a sister out there putting themselves out there, cheer them on and support them in that too. Okay. All right, you guys. Let's see. I'm going to stop the screen share. Did I miss anything? Do we have any questions to answer that you guys want to draw any attention to? Anything? We good?
You're all good in the hood. Great work tonight, you guys.
Yes.
I didn't see anything else in the chat box, but did anybody want to unmute and ask any questions?